Lytudiep. Hello everyone. Dear friends. So Jane collapsed once again. When the doctor announced that Lytudiep might not make it. Either choose mother or choose child. Facing danger, having to make such a choice was very difficult for him. Is there any hope to save mother and child? Today let's follow this story together. That afternoon, the small house was filled with the innocent laughter of little Nhi as she sat studying with her beloved caregiver. Lytudiep, a gentle, kind woman who had become like a second mother to her. Diep was teaching Nhi to recognize animals and colors. And the two were playing a simple picture game, finding the differences between two drawings. The air was calm, warm, full of a quiet joy that made everything feel safe and normal, as if nothing in the world could ever go wrong. But life, unpredictable and unforgiving, often changes in an instant. Just as Diep was pointing out a small detail in the picture, she swayed, her face suddenly pale, and collapsed. Ni's small voice trembled as she called for her. Panic followed quickly. News reached James, the man who had once promised to protect Diep forever, and without a moment's hesitation, he rushed out the door. He didn't have time to change clothes or grab anything, just wearing old house clothes and slippers. He ran into the rainstorm, heart pounding as hard as the thunder rolling overhead. He arrived, scooped Diep into his arms, and carried her to the hospital in food though through heavy wind and lashing rain. The storm outside matched the one raging inside him, fear, helplessness, love. At the hospital, James stood anxiously in the hallway, the sterile white light washing over his worried face. It was 5 in the morning. Diep was inside, receiving urgent care. Nurses inserted IVs, administered injections. James watched helplessly. When he was finally allowed in, she was in pain, eyes red from crying. He gently brushed her hair aside and whispered, "It's okay to cry, don't hold it in. Crying will help the pain ease a little." This was her 4th injection already. Her frail body trembled under the weight of it all. James held her hand, warm and steady. He rushed out to buy rice porridge, then returned and fed her spoon by spoon. His every motion careful, tender. She couldn't eat much, her illness required strict dietary restrictions, but he made sure every bite was warm and comforting. Even in her weakness, she managed to tease him, and they shared small, bittersweet smiles through the fatigue. Later, James approached the doctor to ask more about her condition, and then came the news that shattered his heart. She has a rare genetic disorder. The doctor said, her immune system is severely compromised. The recent cold and stormy weather made it impossible for her body to cope. That's why her fever spiked so dangerously. James was stunned. He had no idea. She had never told him. She bore it all in silence, quietly, as if trying to protect him from the weight of her suffering. And he, the man who had promised to stay by her side, to protect her, hadn't even known. That night, he sat beside her hospital bed, her breath light and shallow. In the dim glow of the room, he made a vow again, this time not just in words, but with every fiber of his being. He would never leave her side again, not even for a moment. Back at home, little Nhi missed her dearly. Sitting next to Grandma Huyen, eating warm porridge, her voice was soft and shaky. "Grandma, I miss Lytudiep so much." Grandma called James and Diep, and through the phone screen, Ni's eyes filled with tears as she said, "I miss you, Lytudiep." "I miss you too, sweetheart," Diep replied gently. "I'll be home with you in a few days, okay?" Though she was exhausted, Diep tried to smile, to be strong, so the little one wouldn't worry. On the other end, James watched silently, his heart aching. Back at the hospital, James continued to care for Diep with unwavering dedication. He did everything, washed her clothes, prepared her food, arranged fruit, and coordinated the completion of the shelter they had been building before she fell ill. He made sure she had exactly what the doctors allowed, simple rice and roasted peanuts. He helped her eat, drink, and rest. He even prepared fruit, apples, pears, the only things she was allowed to eat freely. That night, as the storm continued outside and rain streaked the hospital windows, James sat beside her once more, placed his hand over hers, and whispered, "I know you're scared, but I'm here, so is your mother, and little Nhi. You're not alone, you just have to fight, and we'll be right here fighting with you." Diep looked at him, her eyes glassy, but her smile so tender. He gently ran his fingers through her hair. "I don't remember the full name of your illness," he said quietly, "but I remember my promise to protect you. And I will, no matter what." Late into the night, James laid down next to her, close enough to hear her breathing, close enough to be there if she needed anything. The world outside was soaked in storm and darkness. But in that quiet room, lit by love and resilience, there was a small, unwavering light, the kind that survives even the wildest storms.